I'm starting with my most important question.
Yeah.
How do you take your eggs?
Not raw. Not raw. I think I've got the same egg taste as Barry or Oliver. Sunny side up. Quite well done.
I respect that. I respect that. I'll take anything but a runny egg.
You have a scene in the film that didn't make it where he gives him an egg so raw it's got the chick in it with blood and limbs.
Are you joking or are you being serious?
No, it was there at one point, but it hasn't made it. I think it was too dark for any audience. But
I would expect that from Emerald, though, trying to play with something like that. I dig it.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I know. You can never expect anything from Emerald, can you? She's always going to surprise. Never expect.
She is something else. All right. I'm going to get to your collaboration with her in a moment. But first, I tend to be a little bit of a backstory nerd when I become obsessed with films. So, of course, now I need to know absolutely everything about Duncan. And I'm not sure how much of this you really thought through, but what do you... Oh, my God. This is going to be perfect then.
Really, Emerald worked with me on it. His backstory, we went into enormous detail, actually. And then I lived in the house in Saltburn when everybody was in the hotel in the town. I stayed there. I begged the producers to let me stay there so I could feel what it was like to be in these haunted rooms, in the night on my own. And it was a great experience. And it did set up, I mean, I know to the outsider it may sound ridiculous, these kind of details, but on some level they communicate. I'm sure they do. And as I've got older, I'm more, I don't like the word method, but I'm more into my history of my character than I was years ago.
I feel like when you are in a role with less screen time than others, when you don't think about those details, the character doesn't feel full and whole, like a person that exists outside of the scenes that they're in.
It's funny because he doesn't speak that much. And it's he's there a lot and doesn't speak that much. And it's a friend of mine said that she thinks film went down when the talkies were invented. So maybe.
A couple of specific backstory questions. Did you ever come up with what he might have dreamed of becoming when he grew up? And then also the details of how he came to work at Saltburn.
Well, I think he wanted to be David Bowie, as most young boys at that time did. The details of how he came to Saltburn are interesting. First of all, I thought he was the son of the elderly butler and just took over that position and had known it all his life. But then we worked out a scenario where his mother had been a cleaner there. He's from a single parent. And at 14, he went there and thought, I want a bit of this. And as soon as he could, at 15, he went to work there. And he is really that house more than anybody. When Barry says to Rosamond in the cafe, is Duncan still there? Of course, it's important that all that is maintained because if he's not there, it's not Saltburn in a way. It's if anybody's got ownership of that house, it's him. It's very unusual. He loves it. He loves them, and he loves that house.
Oh my, I have so many follow-up questions, but you saying he wants a piece of it, I feel like
Emerald
he's in with the whole so well.
I know it. He looked at that house and thought, I want a bit of this. I want to get in. And schemed his way to the head of the whole house. Head of the house, they're called. He'd be mortified if we called him a butler. He's either Duncan or head of the house.
I respect that. So given he's kind of Saltburn himself, and I think he knows it better than anybody else, are there any small details in the production design that you picked up on to play this character that maybe people won't notice on first watch, but were important to you and you think we should keep an eye on it for the second time around?
I don't know about a production detail exactly in any sort of physical sense, but I think the story of Duncan is that he's not a paternal person, not a maternal person, doesn't like children, but for some reason, and the reason is he was stuck with these children because their parents are away all the time, he loved these kids, Alison and Jacob. He loved them. So the death of Jacob, Felix, is devastating to him. And I think he feels that probably the most, or lets his feeling out when he's closing the curtains, just being wrecked by the death of this boy.
That is such a brilliant scene.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know what would come over me that day. I just thought I've got to just do this and try and feel it. And you can hear the gurney going past with the body on, and it's and also, if anybody knows that Oliver, Barry's character, is a bad soul, it's Duncan. From the very first moment, he knows. I said to Emerald, "Do you think he knows the details?" She said, "No, because he'd kill him. He would kill him if he knew the details of what he was doing. But I know there's something wrong with that boy."
I'll raise the spoiler warning for this particular question, just in case any of our audience hasn't seen Saltburn. But given what you just said, I was wondering, is Duncan the one that replaced the glass? And if so, in the mirror, and if so, why not say something and act in that moment?
Well, everything is done seamlessly. So there are behind the scenes, some, you can just about see it in one of the scenes actually, but there were 30 maids all in a black dress, identical, and 20 footmen. And they all come out into the courtyard in one scene. But with the scene where we are looking for the dead body, they all came out. So that was this kind of mad. Yes, this enormous staff would facilitate anything he wanted. Go to the mirror in bathroom number 3 immediately, and it needs to be replaced. And it would be simply done by 2 footmen who were handymen. And that's how efficient this house is. That family never have to think about anything. They're babies. They have never had to look after themselves from the moment they were born. And he's from the rough end of life, and has developed a liking for the way they live.
Where does Duncan draw the line? What would he need to have seen Oliver do to make it so he's not treating them like babies, and instead stepped in and said, "There's something wrong with him, and we have to do something about it"?
I don't think he would have stepped into the family. I think Emerald is right. He would have killed him. He would have killed him with his bare hands. And there is a feeling that he could. And Barry's character sort of knows that on some level. I think his love and devotion to this place is so intense, he would have taken the law into his own hands and not have worried the family, in a way. But he knows immediately there's something wrong with Barry because he's from that. He's from that world. He knows underprivilege. He knows what it is to strive.
In that case, what do you think the next scene would look like after the end of the movie? Because I believe Duncan is still in Saltburn.
And the ending has changed.
Oliver's.
Yeah, he's very much still there. And I think eventually Duncan would reveal him. Eventually he'd find a way because he knows something is wrong. We used to have a joke on the set that the follow-up film Saltburn 2 would be called Duncans Revenge, and it was.
I literally have that written. I swear to God, the sequel should be like The Rise of Duncan, and he's on a mission to take it over from Oliver, and it's Duncan's Revenge.
And Duncan probably murders him and has retribution and revenge for the family that he loved. And I absolutely think, and also nobody else speaks except Duncan. So that's the other bit of revenge.
I would watch this movie in a heartbeat. This is the sequel I needed. So I have to leave you in a few, just to leave on a positive note, just because I need to know some source of joy in Duncan's life. What does he do in his downtime? How does he decompress? What puts a smile on his face?
I think he listens to 80s techno pop music in his room, full blast. And there's a cat that belongs to the thing, and he looks after that cat. And that's about it. The rest, in his few moments of peace, he's listening to Kraftwerk or something quite hard from the 80s from Germany. I think that's what I think he does in his little room.
There's some sort of epic sequel poster where you're sitting on a throne with the cat right next to you, petting the cat. Saltburn 2, Duncan's Revenge. I could see it now.
Going like hell in the background. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
that's a good idea.
While I sit and wait for that sequel to happen, I will watch this movie over and over and over. I'm mighty obsessed with it. Huge congratulations on Saltburn.
Thank you so much. I'm very proud of it.